going to talk about FAIR. And this is the 4 laws of the mind. And FAIR is composed of focus. What we focus on expands. And you know this to be true. The more you think about something, the more prevalent it becomes in your life. So what is our solution to that with our clients is to focus on the solutions rather than the problem. Because most people are constantly focusing on what's wrong and what the issue is rather than on how do I fix it. Then we have associate. And this is when your thoughts and your images, everything in your life starts to revolve around that area of focus. So a really good example is that smoker that says, oh, I just love to get up in the morning and have that first cigarette while I have breakfast and a cup of coffee and read the newspaper. So what is he associating with that focus? He's associating getting up, having coffee, reading the newspaper, eating, and any of those things become triggers at that point. And so our job is to take a look at eliminating those negative triggers that are reinforcing those unwanted behaviors. And of course, we can then instill some positive triggers that change that, right? This is all a system. And then we have repeat. Because whatever we repeat often enough, especially when we do it with passion, and remember that smoker says, I just love getting up in the morning? Well, that's a pretty strong passion, isn't it? It becomes our truth. And that repetition is important because that is how our subconscious mind learns. We keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes our truth. I'm fat, I'm so stupid, I can never do this. That repetition is all it takes. And we get all that momentum going, and it's hard to turn that ship around, okay? And then finally, expect. We get exactly what you expect you will, and our minds will filter out anything to the contrary. So here's the thing, most people have a disconnect. That's the problem. They want something consciously, but their subconscious mind thinks differently. It believes differently. And that suggestion that you might give them is never going to get through because they don't really believe it. And this is where affirmations can be actually a negative. You can get up in the morning and say, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you're beautiful. And the more you try to talk yourself into it, the more you feel like a fraud because you really don't have that belief. So it's our job to make sure that our clients' expectations are in line with their goals too. Very, very important. So I want to give you an example of exactly how this works. So for a moment, if you would, I'd like you to focus your attention here. Just focus your attention. Now, I'm not a very good whistler. My dad said it was because I didn't eat the crust on my bread. So I can do and that's it. And I suck in instead of blowing out. I'm doing it totally backwards. So I'm going to whistle like, whoosh. That's my whistle, okay? So I want you just to focus. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. And what happened?
I heard it.
Your brain heard it, didn't
Yeah.
it? That's right. You filled it in. That is a perfect example of FAIR. You're focusing on the finger movement, the sound. I did it associating the sound with the finger, okay? And we did it repetitively, so it set up that expectation when the sound wasn't there, you heard it anyway. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is.
And this is just a simple example of the laws of the mind. So when you're thinking about how the mind works, you have to remember this, because if we can find any one of these places to intervene with our clients, we are going to make positive change. Okay? If a client comes to you expecting a certain thing out of their hypnosis session and they don't get it, do you think it's going to be successful for them?
No.
No. You know, I think some of you, I told you the story about the older woman that I had. She wanted the swinging watch.
Yes.
And even though she was having amazing success and she was making great progress, by the third session, she just didn't think she was hypnotized. And she was very deep. She was a really good candidate for hypnosis. But she needed, that was her expectation, and I had not given it to her yet.